The Wheel of Time Amazon Prime adaptation is coming out this month, and over the past several weeks, we've seen a lot of exciting teasers. Of course, there was the official teaser trailer, which I'm sure if you're anything like me, you've watched and rewatched at least 10 times. Those are rookie numbers! Next, there was the Wine Spring Inn clip, which surprisingly showed Nynaeve tugging her dagger, not her braid. That's it! They ruined it! It's nothing like the books. There needs to be more braid tugging and sniffing. Following that, there was a handful of teasers revealed on Instagram and some behind-the-scene clips leading up to the official trailer, which has made my hopes even higher for the show. And Nynaeve even pulls through with that braid flip. There's hope after all! Honestly, it's looking incredible. The budget is there, Rosamund Pike is absolutely killing her role as Moiraine, that shot of the Aiel in the snow was amazing, and I love the fact that they didn't just use full CGI for the Trollocs. Now, I do have some small criticisms, and there's some things I don't know why they changed, but overall I'm pretty excited for it. However, I do have to say that I wish the weaves had more color in them like they do in the posters. I know I'm a little late, but I have been thinking about doing an in-depth analysis of the trailer, so let me know if that's something you want to see. Now, none of this really means anything to you. If you're new to the Wheel of Time, you might not know why this adaptation is such a big deal. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about everything you need to know before watching the Wheel of Time. Now, this will be spoiler-free, but I've come to realize that sometimes people on the internet consider any amount of world building to be spoilers. So just a disclaimer, I will be going over some basic world building and lore to set the scene of what you're getting into. I'm not even going to spoil who the main character is, since it looks like the show wants to play that up for the first season. None of what I have to say will spoil things for the plot. But real quick, this video is sponsored by Into the AM. Now by now you guys probably know Into the AM because I've shown their clothing in a lot of my videos, and this time they sent me more cool clothing, including this hoodie. Now Into the AM is a company based in Southern California. All of their clothing use eco-friendly inks, they're incredibly comfortable, and they got cool designs. So why aren't you wearing them? Wow, it's pretty lame that you're the only person in the room not wearing Into the AM. Well, I guess I'm the only one wearing it in this room. But that could be you. You could look as cool as me. Maybe these glasses aren't doing it. They're not from Into the AM. They sent me this wavy t-shirt, which I really like. I love how there's this cool design on the back. They also sent me this bandana, this galaxy bandana. Now, I plan on using this for skiing, but you could use it as a face mask as well. Make sure to use the link in the description or the coupon code captured in words to get 10% off your entire order. And hey, as the holiday season arrives, Into the AM has some great products that you can give as gifts to those you love and want to see looking good. And as always, thank you to Into the AM for sponsoring this video. James Oliver Rigney Jr., aka Robert Jordan, introduced readers to the Wheel of Time back in 1990 with the first book, The Eye of the World. Subsequent books released every few years with a consistency that could make a Kingkiller Chronicle or a Song of Ice and Fire fan assume the fetal position and cry themselves to sleep. I would know. I mean, not that I would know anything about that. It's just been so long. Now, unfortunately, in 2006, Robert Jordan was diagnosed with terminal heart disease, but despite this, he was very optimistic about finishing the series. He planned on writing one more book to wrap the series up, even if it was so big that readers might need a forklift to get it out the door. In September 2007, Jordan passed away without ever finishing that final book. He left behind a legacy of 1 prequel and 11 main books in a series that would become one of the best fantasy series of all time. Thankfully, before his death, he prepared extensive notes including drafts of his original vision for some of the final scenes, and within a few months, his widow and editor Harriet McDougall chose a new author at the time, Brandon Sanderson, to carry the torch and finish the series.
The amount of material he left behind is what makes this book possible.
Sanderson took Jordan's notes and ended up finishing the series with 3 more books rather than one gigantic book, the final of which released in 2013. Books 8 through 14 all reached #1 on the New York Times bestseller list, and after its completion, the series was nominated for a Hugo Award. It sold over 90 million copies worldwide as of 2021, making it one of the best-selling epic fantasy series since The Lord of the Rings. So what's it about? The Wheel of Time tells a story that's happened over and over. The Wheel of Time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. Legend fades to myth, and even myth is long forgotten when the age that gave it birth comes again. Time is a wheel with 7 different spokes, each representing an age. The one power, which flows from the true source, turns this wheel, spinning the pattern of the ages, using the lives of men and women as its threads. Now, there's people who can use the one power, primarily the Aes Sedai, and the one power is split in 2. There's the female half, called Saidar, and the male half, called Saidin. However, at the time of the story, the male half, Saidin, has been tainted by the Dark One. Well, it looks like in the show they changed the word taint to corrupted, which is probably a good choice. Anyway, this corruption makes any male channelers of the one power be driven insane, making them a danger to everyone. In fact, when Saidin was first tainted, there was an event known as the Breaking of the World, where male Aes Sedai destroyed most of the world. While some men can still channel, they're doomed to madness and destruction. Now only women can bear the title Aes Sedai, and they rule from the White Tower on the island city of Tar Valon. Male channelers are hunted down by Aes Sedai and gentled or cut off from the power for the safety of the world, a process that is anything but gentle. Seldom does anyone survive long after being gentled. Now, the Aes Sedai are broken up into different Ajas represented by different colors that all have their own specialties, which I won't get into in this video, and they're led by the Amerlin seat. There's prophecies of a dragon. No, not that type of dragon. The dragon is a champion of light who's been reborn to battle the Dark One throughout history. Mankind now lives under the shadow of a prophecy that the seals on the Dark One's prison would weaken and he'd break free, but the dragon would be reborn to fight him once more. Although the dragon will be humanity's savior, he'll also devastate the world a second time in the process. So this leads us to the main story, where we see Moraine, an Aes Sedai, and her warder Lan arrive in the isolated village of Emond's Field. They have news that the Dark One is looking for someone in the area, and so Moraine is determined to find them first and bring them back to the White Tower. And it could be that the person the Dark One is looking for is the Dragon Reborn. That's all I'm gonna say about this story. It's a classic battle between dark and light, and the Wheel of Time does use a lot of fantasy tropes, but I feel like it perfects what a lot of classic fantasy set out to do. And it's a perfect bridge between classic and modern fantasy. The Wheel of Time is a sprawling world with more intricacies than even Game of Thrones. The series draws on numerous elements of both European and Asian mythology. It has a huge cast of characters and enough books that you'll really become attached to them. Hopefully the show will succeed at this as well. The writing is incredibly detailed. While it can be tedious at times, it also means that the series provides you with incredibly rich visuals and imagery. Now, a series that has 14 books is a pretty big commitment. I'm still making my way through the Wheel of Time, but even though it has its ups and downs, I am confident in saying that it's one of the best fantasy series that I've had the pleasure of reading. Fans have wanted an adaptation for years, and the rights have changed hands several times. There was actually a pilot episode that aired on FXX back in 2015.
At long last.
Taint! My wife and her games.
It was very, very bad.
Ileana! Where are you, my love? Ileana! 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 Ileana!
Blood and bloody ashes, it was bad. This was a quick and cheap production put together purely to keep hold of the TV rights. And it shows. Now going back even further, there was actually an earlier adaptation. There was a Wheel of Time video game that came out back in 1990 for PC. And I guarantee it's not the type of game you would have expected. You know, as I read the Wheel of Time, I always thought it needed a first-person shooter video game. Said no one ever. But that's what the wheel weaved. and I accepted it. The wheel weaves as the wheel wills. The wheel weaves as the wheel. The wheel weaves as the wheel. The wheel weaves as the wheel wheels. Ah, that is a tongue twister my brain cannot comprehend. The thing is, it's actually pretty good. I actually really enjoyed playing this game, and apparently the multiplayer is a lot of fun. I didn't get the chance to try that yet, but I do plan on making a full video just on this game in the future, so let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see. As far as a TV adaptation, there has never been a better time for this to be in production. With the success of Game of Thrones, fantasy is at a high point. Everyone is waiting to see what's going to be the next hit, and thankfully the showrunner, Rafe Judkins, seems to deeply care about this adaptation and its source material. And they got the help of Harriet McDougal, Jordan's widow, as a consulting producer, which made me so happy because it's impossible to imagine this going over well without her being involved. They even brought Brandon Sanderson on board as a consulting producer and to give a thumbs up to some of the changes that the show is making. And you need to accept that there's going to be changes. There's already some changes I'm not really too keen on, but you know what? I always have the mindset that an adaptation is separate from the original. It's a different thing, and it's never going to be like how I picture it in my head. So if you can accept it on its own, then you'll probably enjoy it a lot more and judge it fairly. Now, it looks like we're gonna see a lot more action that happens off-page in the books, and I don't think this will be as graphic as Game of Thrones because it's not meant to be, but there are a lot of dark parts in the books, and sometimes Jordan sort of glosses over some of those, but I expect that the show is gonna go all in. Also, Rafe Judkins is a fan of Logain and plans on expanding his role in Season 1 more than it was in The Eye of the World. A full 3 episodes are going to drop all at once on Amazon Prime Video on November 19th, and following that, Amazon is continuing its tradition of weekly episode releases all the way through December 24th, Christmas Eve. There's going to be a total of 8 episodes in Season 1, and production has already started for Season 2, and it's likely we won't have to wait long. So what do you think? Do you think this is going to be the next big thing in fantasy? So that is everything you need to know before watching The Wheel of Time. Let me know if you plan on reading the books or if you're excited for the show. Also, let me know if there's any things that you're not so sure about with the show, and leave a comment letting me know if you want to see me make more Wheel of Time content. But even if you say no, I'm going to anyway, because it's my channel. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Please do so. I am so close to 50,000. Please, just subscribe. Please, I beg of you. They're holding me hostage. The Dark Friends. And also, if you want to help support me, then check out my Patreon. That always helps. Big thank you to my patrons. I want to find a way to thank you guys more, so I will be working on some Patreon exclusive stuff.